Hello everybody, I'm the Solar Gamer. Welcome back to Civilization. Europa Universalis IV, Pirates vs. Merchants. Welcome back. So, last episode was the last episode of the series. However, I wanted to do something a little bit special considering, well, I hate odd numbers. And episode 59 needed to become episode 60. To end off the entire series, I'm going to do one last video, and I thought it was cool to kind of showcase the timeline feature. The time-lapse kind of thing, where we can see our country from start to finish. Now, we ended the game in 1749. Last episode is a bit prematurely, because Orbital Potato kind of got his ass handed to him from Austria and France and whoever else joined that war. So we'll actually see that. We'll talk about that towards the end here. But yeah, it's time to go back in, rewatch the history of Morocco and Venice as we conquer the Mediterranean. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and let's put it on medium for the time being. So, obviously, in the very beginning, I was kind of worried. The biggest threat for the beginning was Castile, Portugal, and Aragon. Now, we kind of had some early expansion into Granada, which was kind of nice. It got us established on the Iberian Peninsula. And then we had to worry about Castile, Portugal, Aragon, like I said, the big guys. Also, our neighbors to the right. Now, the Ottomans quickly grab up Tunis as an ally. So we had to take out this one. I'm not going to say the name because I'll butcher it. And then what did we do? We took a war. We won a war against Portugal. Granada was released because Castile lost, so we took over Granada. And yeah, so basically Castile got royally screwed up in the very beginning of this game. And that's what caused us to surge ourselves into Iberia and basically become what we were, Andalusia. Now, we had to clean up some area down in here, which we did. We took out the rest of these guys. We're also taking the rest of Portugal, as well as Galicia is expanding by itself into Portugal as well. However, we had to deal with them eventually. So, Aragon basically killed Castile here. This was the war that Castile was done for. So now I think we just cleaned up Portugal. I'm not sure. One of these wars in here was for Galicia. We then vassalized Galicia, and they became a nice partner for us to kind of take out the rest of Iberia, going through Aragon and Castile. Now, we're doing this as well as colonizing. We're colonizing Africa, which we just did here. We moved our way into Timbuktu, which was nice. We gained that wasteland province, which I loved because it made my name much, much bigger. What else are we doing? We extended Galicia through Castile here. I think we're starting to colonize the Caribbean. That's right. And now we're Andalusia. I missed that, sadly, but we had a war with Aragon in which we took out the rest of these bottom provinces that we needed for Andalusia, so we were able to form it. And of course, we did some mild expansions down over here into northern Africa. Check out Tunis and stuff like that. A lot of what we did in this game was basically luck, because the Ottomans kind of broke their alliance with Tunis for a little short while, and then we were able to kind of come in here, take the rest of it, and so on and so forth. I think at this point, Jared is our vassal, and we took out the rest of Tunis. So everything was just going very, very well for us. A very, very lucky game. And the colonization side of things was actually very easy as well because Castile and Portugal were no longer in the game. So we had free reign over all of the continents. That being said, France and England did some colonizing. In fact, France kind of colonized the hell out of Colombia and this area in here, which they kind of got screwed over later on in the game for that, but that's okay. But it did help, us, because we were allied with France. So we were actually a nice global superpower because of our allies in Scandinavia eventually, Poland and Lithuania, and France. And I think there was somebody else as well by the end. I think it was Kilwa. They didn't really do much with us, but it still helped, Alright, let's boost that back up to medium. A lot of what we did from here on forward were a lot of small wars. Like right there, we just took a little bit of this land in here, which I think was the Mamluks. Trying to think. I'm trying to get a nice, good picture as well, because we were colonizing quite a bit. We were also conquesting a little bit here and there through the African nations, colonizing a lot of Brazil, northern Brazil. France just kind of grabbed all those provinces all at once there. That was kind of crazy. What else? England's going into Brazil, or Brazil. Sweden was just gigantic. They just went into Russia there. The Mali was divided by England. Not much going on over here. This kind of stayed the same throughout the entire game. Mewar, Vijayanagar, Ming, they were all pretty big in this area. Kazakh is a very big nation. That's kind of interesting. Well, it was. Aragon is on its last leg in 1670. I'm not sure when we take out the rest of Aragon, but we can check here in a second. We're colonizing Florida, which is great. We're finally on the North American continent. As well as, of course, we have a lot of Venezuela and northern Brazil. Italy is doing pretty well right now. They have the Balkans. They have most of Italy here. One of the problems that Orbital had was trying to take out northern Italy. Savoy was very big. Austria was very big, and that was eventually his downfall. We split up Aragon in half. That's pretty good. Now, at one point, we did get a protectorate of air because we went to war with somebody down here. And they gave us air. I think it was France into Mali. And then we had air as a protectorate. So, in that last battle, we went to war against the Mamluks, and the Ottomans gave us absolute shit land. This never got cored because we couldn't take anything else in here. I was prepared to... Oh, let's slow it down. I was preparing... Actually, I'm going to pause it right now. I was preparing on going to war with the Ottomans, but something else happened that you obviously saw last episode that we'll kind of talk about in a second. But, let's just take a look here. Kind of state-of-the-world type of thing. So, we did lose a lot of land to Britain in Brazil because they conquested this. There was their own separate war. I could have intervened, but I didn't because by the time I was ready to intervene, the war was pretty much over. We have a lot of stuff in here in Louisiana because we kind of conquested up into the native lands. This is all just conquest. None of this is colonized. We just spread our way in through these lands here into the Mississippi, followed that upstream, and took out all those natives. Italy is colonizing Canada and North America. What else? Brazil. All over the place. I think now we're in New Zealand, which was a contested battleground. Of course, he couldn't afford to keep colonizing, so that's why I was able to grab a lot of Australia. And he never actually came back from that, so we never colonized after New Zealand. Alright, now it's going to go into slow-mo because, well, first and foremost, my battle with Britain was successful. We were able to successfully take all of Britain's colonial nations. Pretty much. I mean, Argentina, Brazil. I think there was something else as well. I'm just not sure. I think there was something else. I can't remember. So that was really nice. I could have taken mainland Britain, but I decided the colonial nations were a lot more juicier. So in just a second here, Orbital Potato declared war on Austria because he thought it was a great idea. I kind of egged him onto it because, we were supposed to take out Austria before they got this big, but he decided to re-ally them early. And that kind of cost him, because the war is now over in this time period, and Bulgaria and Serbia were released, and he lost Friesland. He also lost a province in India. It was absolutely insane. He also lost his old capital in Venice, right? He started off as Venice, and he lost it, so it was pretty much game over at that point. I was geared up to go against the Ottomans at this time period, but I decided that to finish off the series, it would be kind of a great conclusion to declare war on Italy and take what I needed for my victory card, which was the last victory card of the game. So, I did it. Well, maybe. Soon. I also took a lot of his colonial nations. So there it is. That is it. This is the game. What it stands right now. And this is technically where it's ending. We've taken all of his colonial nations, pretty much. All the Brazil ones. We left Canada, right? So he has Canada left, which is kind of nice. But we took pretty much everything else. Oh, yes, over here as well. New Zealand is united under the Andalusian banner, and I quite like that. Australia was being colonized by me. We would have... See, I really wish I could have grabbed this wasteland before the end of the game, because it would have drastically increased the name, which I like. I like wastelands because they increase the name. That's pretty much it, as you can see. But, yeah, that didn't end up happening. Overall, this game was really, really good. I actually really liked this game. I could have done a little bit more, but the thing with multiplayer games in EU4 is that it's constantly going, right? It's constantly ticking up, you know? So it's kind of hard to kind of stop, think about something, and implement it in a timely manner. You know what I mean? We could have done more. You know, we could have absolutely done more. I could have taken out the rest of Africa. I could have declared war on the Ottomans. I could have gone back in on Great Britain. I could have done a hell of a lot more. And I could have taken out Aragon in a much faster way so that we could expand elsewhere more rapidly and all that stuff. But that's all in the past. I am very, very happy with this series. Now, in the end, obviously, Potato was kind of losing his game a little bit. But it's alright. I mean, everybody makes mistakes. And this is the game, right? This is a perfect example of Europa Universalis IV. You could expand and become a great empire, and then you piss off the wrong person, or you attack the wrong target, as he did. Now, he could have... Well, I'm not sure if it actually said it, but... in fact, I'm not even sure how France came into this war, now that I think about it. When he attacked Austria... was it... Oh, who's the leader of the HRE? Brittany. And Brittany was called in, who's allied with France. Okay, so that's how it went in. So he attacked Austria, and considering Austria is in the Empire, the HRE Empire came in, which so happened to be Brittany for some weird reason. And Brittany is allied with France, Iceland, and Kildare, which is up here. So that was that. It's all a matter of not really reading and not going too far into detail. But again, that's really not his fault. Like I said, multiplayer games, you really can't stop and take a look. I mean, you can if you really wanted to, but we were trying to entertain as well, so it was a mistake. But it's okay. It worked out kind of well. We didn't make it to 1821, but like I said, I am very happy with this game. Very, very happy. It was very fun. And we successfully did Pirates versus Merchants. You know, the Mediterranean is pretty much all pirates now, right? Let's be honest. But... It was fun. So, without further ado, I'd like to conclude the series by saying thank you all for watching, and definitely stay tuned for more.